My name is Karen, and I'm a 37-year-old single mom living in Dallas. My son, Ethan, was turning 8 in a few days, and I wanted his birthday to be special. He loves vintage toys, classic action figures, old-school cars, and anything with a nostalgic feel. I couldn't afford much, but when I saw a Facebook Marketplace ad for a collector's box of vintage toys at an unbelievable price, I felt like I'd struck gold. The seller said it was her late father's collection, and she just wanted to get rid of it quickly. It seemed perfect. Too perfect, maybe. If you care for your safety, and if you want to stay safe in your city, tell me where you are watching from in the comments so I can publish more real-life horror stories happening in your city, and hit the subscribe button right away so you don't miss these stories when they drop. I arranged to meet the seller at a strip mall parking lot nearby. She said her name was Lisa, and she'd be driving a red sedan. I got there early, parked near a street lamp, and waited. Minutes turned into nearly half an hour before she finally arrived. Her car screeched into the lot, stopping awkwardly across 2 spaces. Lisa stepped out, clutching the box like it was something precious. She looked frazzled, her eyes darting around like she was expecting someone to jump out at her. I tried to smile, but she barely made eye contact. "Sorry I'm late," she muttered, placing the box on the hood of her car. Something felt off, but I was too curious and too desperate for the deal to walk away. I opened the box and started looking through the toys. At first glance, it seemed fine. Old action figures, a few toy cars, even a vintage yo-yo. But as I looked closer, I noticed scratches, missing paint, and pieces that didn't match the near-perfect condition Lisa promised in her ad. I picked up a toy truck and froze. Inside the open window was a tiny, shiny object. It looked like a camera lens. "Hey, what's this?" I asked, holding it up. Lisa's face turned red, and she quickly reached for the box. "It's nothing, just junk from my dad's place," she snapped, her voice shaky. "You paying or not?" My gut twisted. Her nervous energy, the hidden camera, it was all wrong. Something about this wasn't adding up. Before I could ask more questions, Lisa grabbed the box from my hands. "Forget it, the deal's off," she snapped, shoving it into her car. I stepped forward, but she slammed the door and sped off, tires screeching. My gut told me this wasn't just a bad deal, something worse was going on. I followed her at a distance, watching as she pulled into a lot and parked next to a black SUV. She jumped out, handing a large wad of cash to a man inside. That's when I called 911 and reported everything. When police arrived, they uncovered the sickening truth. Lisa and her partner were part of a child trafficking ring. The hidden cameras were used to spy on buyers' homes, targeting children to kidnap later. I was horrified. That box would have destroyed our lives. As I drove home, I couldn't stop thinking about what almost happened. That box, something I thought would make my son's birthday special, could have put him in danger. The thought of those people spying on my child, planning something so evil, made me feel sick. I kept wondering how close I came to bringing that nightmare into my home. Since then, I've been much more careful. I don't meet sellers alone anymore, and I never let my guard down, no matter how good a deal looks. Parents, please, if you're buying something online, vet the seller, meet in a safe, public place, and trust your instincts. No toy, no piece of furniture, no deal is worth risking your family's safety. I learned that the hard way, and I hope my story can help someone else. My name's Marcus, and I'm a 32-year-old graphic designer. I recently moved to Houston, Texas for a fresh start. But between work and unpacking, my apartment still looked like a college dorm, just a mattress on the floor and a folding chair in the living room. I needed furniture, but money was tight. Before we get into this second Facebook Marketplace horror story, have you subscribed to my channel yet? Show your support for these victims as they have shared their story to help others like you and me stay informed. Support them by hitting the subscribe button right away. One night, while scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, I found what felt like the perfect solution. A nearly new gray sofa for just $200. The photos looked great, and the seller explained they were downsizing and needed to sell quickly. It seemed like a steal, so I messaged them right away to lock it in. At the time, I thought I'd hit the jackpot, but that deal would end up being the biggest mistake I ever made. I arrived at the seller's address in San Mateo just as the sun was setting. The neighborhood was quiet, but the house stood out, in a bad way. It looked nothing like the well-kept home from the listing photos. The yard was overgrown, the paint on the shutters was peeling, and one of the upstairs windows was covered with cardboard. My gut told me to turn around, but I'd already driven across town, so I figured I'd at least take a look. The seller, a man in his late 40s, opened the door before I even knocked. He wore a forced smile and seemed friendly enough, but something about him felt off. He kept rushing me to see the sofa, saying, "Let's get this over with, I've got other buyers lined up." His eagerness made me uneasy, but I followed him inside. The sofa was inside the house, and the seller insisted I come in to inspect it. At first I hesitated, glancing at the dimly lit hallway beyond the front door. "It's just inside," the man said, waving me in impatiently. Not wanting to seem rude or paranoid, I reluctantly stepped inside. The air felt heavy, and something about the place didn't sit right. The living room was completely empty except for the sofa, which looked older and more worn than in the pictures. As we moved further in, I noticed strange details. Doors with heavy locks on the outside, faint scuffling sounds coming from upstairs, and a strange odor that I couldn't place. The seller kept talking, rushing me to make a decision. My gut screamed at him to leave, but I stayed, hoping to finish the deal quickly. I crouched down to inspect the sofa, trying to decide if it was worth the trouble. That's when I heard it, a faint muffled voice coming from upstairs. I froze, straining to listen. It sounded like someone crying. My stomach tightened. "What was that?" I asked, standing up. The seller's friendly demeanor vanished in an instant. He stepped in front of the door, his expression hard and tense. "It's nothing," he said sharply. "Just pay me, and we're done." My heart was racing now. "I don't have cash on me," I lied, pretending to reach for my wallet. He stepped closer, his eyes darting toward the stairs. Without thinking, I bolted past him, yanking the door open and sprinting to my car. I heard him shouting behind me, but I didn't stop until I was far, far away. As I drove away, my hands were trembling and my chest felt tight. The thought of how close I'd come to taking that sofa into my home made me feel sick. What if those voices upstairs had been people who needed help? What if I'd ignored my instincts and stayed longer? Worse, what if I'd brought something into my apartment that could have put me in danger? I couldn't shake the guilt. I'd been so focused on getting a good deal that I ignored every red flag. Now, I'm careful. I never go alone to pick up items, and I always meet in public places during the day. If a deal feels off, I walk away. It's not worth the risk. To anyone out there buying online, trust your gut. No piece of furniture is worth risking your safety. Looking back, I've learned a hard lesson. Facebook Marketplace can feel like a gold mine, full of great deals and hidden treasures. But sometimes, those treasures come with a hidden price. A price far too dangerous to pay. I was lucky to walk away that day, but not everyone is so fortunate. Shout out to King710. Thank you for this safety suggestion. I want to give another subscriber a shout out in my next story. I will be picking randomly in the comments. Just let us know in what ways these two victims put themselves in harm's way, and what signs they ignored, and how else they could have stayed safe. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of saving money or finding the perfect item, but your safety should always come first. If something feels off, trust your instincts and walk away. No deal, no bargain, no piece of furniture is worth risking your life. Now, I always take precautions. I meet in public places, bring someone with me, and stay alert. Please, learn from my mistakes. Be smart, stay safe, and remember, nothing is worth more than your life. Have you ever had a creepy or unsettling experience while buying or selling online? Maybe something that just didn't feel right, or a deal that went horribly wrong? I'd love to hear your story. Let me know in the comments below. Sharing these experiences helps us all stay a little safer when navigating online marketplaces. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real-life horror tales, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I post true stories that remind us just how unpredictable and chilling everyday life can be. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And of course, stay safe out there. Sometimes the simplest transactions can take a terrifying turn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.